Hey, this is Deidra from Black People and Cryptocurrency. We're going to go live with a brief discussion with Richard Scott of RichardGetsIt. He's a developer, a longtime person from Atlanta in cryptocurrency. The kind of reason why we're going live is because of a recent news story that hit the news waves yesterday on Block One and their recent IPO. And Richard, being a developer, is going to explain why it was poorly covered by mainstream media, as well as even some tech places that we saw it. It kind of led to some confusion about what's going on. So let's see what we can get Richard on, and then we're going to also share it to Black People in Cryptocurrency. So let me let him know to look for the video on my wall. Again, this is about the recent IPO. Those of you who are not familiar with cryptocurrency, there's been a lot of traditional companies that have had changed their name to using blockchain almost as a trend, and having all these kind of booms in terms of IPOs just based on not having anything under development. And Richard is going to explain why this is a different case scenario than what has happened with similar to the likes of Riot Blockchain that earlier in actually late in 2017. Let me respond to Richard. Richard, if you can see me, you have to actually click the video. If you're using your phone, you should actually see where I can add you. I don't think you can use your PC. I've actually got to be able to see. I can see your comment, but I can't really see to add you to the video. So it's better if you can use your phone, because you'll see an actual icon that says add to the discussion. In any case, in late 2017, there were a number of issues, and into early 2018 with a number of different companies, Riot Blockchain being one. I remember, it took me a while to remember their name, but what they did, they were originally a different company name, and they had acquired or purchased some smaller cryptocurrency companies, and then within 3 weeks, they changed from biotech into blockchain. By way of purchasing companies and then having an IPO. So those of us in cryptocurrency have been critical of that, because there are a number of people who have basically put in the sweat equity to develop these types of cryptocurrency and blockchain ventures, and you know, they're taking very long steps and really looking at SEC in terms of what needs to be done to register security, but a lot of traditional finance companies are kind of taking shortcuts, and in the case of Riot Blockchain, which I'm not saying that they're doing poorly or anything like that, but it took a really shortcut of 3 weeks to develop something called a blockchain company and then have an IPO. And the worst case scenario, however, was Long Island Iced Tea Company that basically changed its name and added blockchain, and then they were already listed because they're a beverage maker. You can find them in convenience stores and things like that. And they basically had an explosion of their stock because they added blockchain to the name, and they basically had some fallback from that. They were delisted in April. So this recent case scenario was scanning my timeline and came across LeBan King's group, Black Wall Street, and somebody had posted there about the most recent thing involving Block One, and my original, knee-jerk reaction was, here we go again with someone out of the traditional finance sector not having a blockchain, not having any type of experience and that sort of thing, basically launching something that the finance sector, being as clueless as it is, and I will be kind of harsh on them because most of them are clueless, basically running and shooting the IPO through the roof, being one, if not the highest first day gain, then I think they broke records in terms of that. But in reality, Richard made a point by following up to an initial comment after I had shared the post from the Black Wall Street, and I shared it to our group, Black People in Cryptocurrency. He says this is a different case scenario, that Block One is really EOS. That makes a big freaking difference. And he went on to explain how, let's see, I'm going to try a different way because Richard's been trying to join. So what I'll do is, Richard, I'm going to call you by way of Facebook and then just reverse the camera to you. That's kind of going to be our workaround because he can't seem to access. And we've had this happen before. So I'm going to do a video call, okay? Let's see, audio. So if you're in front of your PC, Richard, give a call. I don't know why it's not letting me check video for you to give you a call, but it's definitely doing an audio call now. In the meantime, I want to share this to Black People in Cryptocurrency because that is the group that we primarily talk in, but it'll still be on my wall for people that are on my wall. But again, we're going to have a discussion because Richard, being a developer in cryptocurrency, a long-time person, and has been following EOS, and the development team have been has some history on why it was covered so poorly. Let me just write this. So, Richard, I'm going to call you again. If you're in front of your there was no answer. So if you're in front of your PC, just pick up. Okay, my broadcast paused a minute, so I don't know how much anyone missed, but what I'm going to do is going to reverse the camera so that we can see. And before I reverse the camera, Richard Scott's been a longtime member of Black People in Cryptocurrency. He has a program called RichardGetsIt, which he runs like training seminars and all sorts of things in cryptocurrency for a long time. So he's definitely been following EOS. He's out of Atlanta. Sometimes you've seen him in the group talk about Atlanta cryptocurrency meetups and training sessions. So just so you know, it's not some random person that has going to be speaking on this. So I'm going to reverse it so you don't have to see me anymore, which is perfect. Wait, where are you going, Richard? Sit down.
I had to air my chair up for a second.
Don't leave now. I'm going to see if I can get the volume up because my volume is really low. Right now. Oh, let's see. Let's bump it up a bit. Yeah, I think I went the wrong way. Okay, we're gonna bump it up, and so give us some perspective of what's happened in the news with Block One, what happened with the IPO, and how are they connected to EOS?
Okay, a couple of things that I wanted to address. The first thing. A lot of these cryptocurrencies are software. So because it's software, then the new factor to factor in these things when you're trying to add value to these projects is the skills of the actual developers. So, prior to Ethereum and the smart contract platforms, in order to create a new coin, you had a lot of people just downloaded the Bitcoin Core code base, and they created new coins. Litecoin was created that way, Vericoin, Dash, and a lot of these. So you really had to be really on the edge as a developer to be able to create that. With the advent of Ethereum, you were able to create ERC20 tokens, which allowed just about anyone to create a coin. So because of that factor, in August of 2017, you had about 800 coins. Between that time and now, we've almost doubled the coins, amount of coins. And a lot of those coins are ERC20 coins because they are very simple to produce. Now, what happened with Ethereum, getting back to EOS, is EOS did something very similar to what Ethereum did with their crowdsource and their ICO, but they also did it on an even grander scale. Dang it, somebody's calling me. Hold on 1 second. Hello?
Richard.
Yeah.
Hey, man, 27th floor, your ISU group or Trust Logic?
Yes, come in. Go, can you get the door? Can somebody grab the door? Front door.
July?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, 2725. Come on in. I'm live streaming.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Deidra, I'm sorry. I'm back.
Go ahead.
So what you had, so let's take it back. When Ethereum did their ICO, they did it with, they raised their money in Bitcoin because they, at that time, did not have an Ethereum, there was no ERC20 token to create Ethereum. You had to raise it in a different currency, use that currency to pay your developers to develop the new platform. EOS did the same thing. EOS says we are going to create a new platform, and in order to raise money for our ICO, we're going to create an ERC20 token, then use the funds raised in that currency to develop our new platform, which will have other currencies. So there's a precedent for what they've done. Also, the time period. I think Ethereum, they took about 8 to 9 months, and they raised about 16 to 19 million dollars in Bitcoin. They also at that time, I mean, and it took about 9 months. What EOS did is they started a year ago. Okay, in June of 2017, they stretched out as far as the amount of different coins that they would issue each period, and they let the market decide the price. So they started last year in June, and you probably could have got EOS, the ERC20 EOS ICO for cents. Then the market, as they start issuing more and more of the total of 1 billion coins, then people started becoming aware of it. Then the actual market factor started to take place, and people were paying more and paying more and paying more. And now we got up to probably I think it's like over $12 today, and they've raised over close to $4 billion. Another thing that's very interesting is that they hit their fundraising goals probably around January, but because this is a smart contract, it's still running. And their initial goal was just $1 billion. When they hit that goal, they said, we're going to take 10% of that, which is $100 billion. And we are going to venture fund startups that are building their solutions on top of the EOS platform. One of the major ones that is doing that is Bitfinex. They started, I think they're in alpha right now. They started EOS Finex, which is a decentralized version of Bitfinex, the trading platform, the exchange, on the EOS platform. If you Google, let's say just Google EOS projects or something like that, and you will find the other projects itself. There's many people in this space now. So
the news that broke yesterday, and it was actually covered, I can't remember if it was MSNBC or CNN, whatever it was covered. How they reported it as primarily as Block One. So can you explain what's the difference between EOS and Block One? And what they had basically said was there was an IPO of a venture that didn't have a blockchain. Can you explain why that's not correct?
Well, a lot of people. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Ethereum scenario. When Ethereum was conducting their ICO over this extended period of multiple months, they didn't have a blockchain. They had a white paper. They had a proof of concept. They said, we're going to take this money that we're raising and build something. EOS is saying the same thing. They're saying, we are going to take this money that we're raising and we're going to build something. We're going to raise money with this token, the ERC20 token, and we are going to bring it back. Yeah. And we're going to raise money with this token, and we're going to take the proceeds from this fundraising, this ICO, and build EOS. And a matter of fact, and I'd like to make this argument, it's even in a better position because we talked about, people said in that article, it is backed by nothing. Actually, that's not true, because the core of what EOS is two things. It's the graphene blockchain, which is extremely fast, and it's delegated proof of stake, a new type of consensus. It's even different. It's vastly different from proof of work, and it's even more. I guess more democratic than regular proof of stake. Delegated proof of stake is going to allow anyone that has coins. Oh, okay. You go. Anyone that has coins to vote on the actual nodes that create blocks. So this is, if I have coins, I can delegate my stake to one of these nodes that gives them the right to create blocks that will secure the network. And my third point, if you've looked at anything that Dan Larimer, who is the developer for EOS, the CTO at this point, he's been dropping all these little cookies for the past year, and this is what sold me on it. The core of what you're going to get with EOS is already running in the form of BitShares, which is a decentralized exchange, a coin, and a decentralized platform, a trading platform, in the form of Steemit, which is, I've seen other people in the group talk about Steemit and how they like Steemit, which is a decentralized, coin incentivized social media network. Muse, which hasn't been getting a lot of attention, but Muse itself is, when we talk about music on the blockchain and attribution and doing things like disrupting BMI and royalty payments, that's running on the same technology that EOS is going to be based on. So it's already in place. So imagine yourself back when there was nothing that Ethereum was based on, but it was basically like a new version of the Bitcoin Core code base that you'd be able to do smart contracts on. Go to BitShares.org right now. It's running. There's a lot of platforms running on top of BitShares. Open Ledger is running on top of BitShares. Rudex is running on top of BitShares. A lot of different decentralized exchanges are running on top of this BitShares blockchain. If you look at Steemit, what's running on top of the Steemit blockchain? Busy.org. DTube, which is like video streaming, it's basically decentralized YouTube using IPFS, interplanetary file system, to create a decentralized version of video streaming and video hosting. So in my mind, looking at the technology, EOS is already there. Now this is just going to make it even better, because what you're going to have is, when Ethereum was developed, they created a new language to write smart contracts in Ethereum, Solidity. Now you did have a version called Serpent, which is like a version of Python that you could write smart contracts on top of Ethereum. But the development community has moved towards Solidity, which is a JavaScript type of language. So you say, well, what can we use to write on EOS, to develop solutions on EOS? They have an infrastructure called WebAssembly. And what the great thing about WebAssembly is, WebAssembly allows you to take an existing language, write your contracts in that language, run it through the WebAssembly, and put that out on that EOS blockchain. And if anybody out there knows, is like, if you were to ask any developer worth his metal, what language has the most robust, the most tested, from high level to low level library base out there? And they'll tell you C++. C++ is the workhorse of all of this development. Yes, you can develop in different languages, but if you look at the core thing that's created languages like Java and these other ones, their code base is C++. I can take all of these tested, tried and true C++ libraries, build a solution in that, run it through WebAssembly, and I've got it running on a decentralized distributed network, running the delegated proof of stake consensus algorithm, and it's there. And another good thing that you can do with EOS is you'll be able to upgrade your contracts. So kind of give you an example. When the DAO hack happened on the Ethereum blockchain, there was all these different things that had to take place with the voting and the big debates over immutability versus is code is law and all of this stuff. Mutability versus code is law. If that same type of scenario were to happen on EOS, all you have to do is upgrade the contract. So it's like in a traditional software development paradigm where, hey, this version was buggy. Version 2.1 is going to be better because we're going to fix everything that was buggy in 2.2. So that is the power. And let me just say this one more thing. Going back to BitShares. BitShares conducts more transactions per second than does Bitcoin and Ethereum. The confirmation time on Bitcoin is 10 minutes. Confirmation time on Bitshares is, on Ethereum is 15 seconds. Bitshares has been clocked anywhere between 3 seconds and 1.5, and the EOS has been scheduled to do the same as well.
So is BitShares going to be a competitor of EOS as well as Ethereum, as well as Komodo? I mean, where does EOS fit in terms of its competitors?
I think EOS, the way Dan has been describing it, is EOS is kind of like an evolution of this. It's sort of like it may be like BitShares version 2 or version 3. Version 3, because there was a BitShares 1 and a 2. But it's going to be able to do what BitShares does, but do more. But just give you an example. So if Bitfinex would have just wanted to do a decentralized platform exchange, they would have just built it on top of BitShares if they wanted. So I'm just assuming, and it is, there are more features within, they're going to be within EOS. Plus, you got to look at EOS is going to have built-in file storage. It's going to have, there's already a graphical user kit to be able to, visual, so you can build your visual interface inside of this natively as well. But I would say that, yes, you can build everything that BitShares does, EOS will be able to do, plus more.
Okay, so the confusion of Block One. What is Block One in terms of relationship to EOS? Is that just
okay? I'm going to go back to the scenario. With comparing it to Ethereum. So the Ethereum blockchain is running by itself, but you have Consensus, which is a firm that is made up of a lot of Ethereum developers. Hold on one second. Hello?
Hey, I'm in front.
All right, come on up. Bring the book. Hey, can you go out front and get him?
I'm in.
So I put him on mute for a second because he's actually in his office taking phone calls, and he was like, "I got a few minutes today to take a call." So
all right, I'm back.
He's back.
Okay, I'm back. So I'm back, Deidra.
Go ahead.
So so you have Ethereum, the blockchain is running, and you have Consensus, the actual firm, who has positioned themselves as the experts on Ethereum because it's made up of the Ethereum developers. Okay. You have you have the Ethereum Foundation, which does the same thing. You have the Bitcoin Foundation. They don't run Bitcoin, but they they're like the heart and soul of Bitcoin. They're keeping Bitcoin going. They don't control it. So Block One, the EOS network will launch. Block One is the firm that has the EOS developers that says, hey, we are the de facto experts in this space.
Okay.
Now there's going to be plenty of other EOS developers, but they're going to be the go-to guys.
I gotcha. So that clears everything up. So can you recount what happened in terms of the Block One's IPO and how that is kind of set the kind of media world on fire in terms of what they amount to raise? What did they raise, and what as Block One said, those funds are going to be used for?
Okay. They started, their initial goal was $1 billion. They hit that probably in January. And then you got to realize that their ICO was a smart contract. So it's not going to stop when it hits that. It's got to keep, it's time factored by time. So it's going to run from June 17 to June 18. So when they hit $1 billion, they were like, okay, we've hit $1 billion. Even before they hit $1 billion, they'd already raised enough money to do their development efforts. So at that point, they said, look, this is what we're going to do. I remember when I saw the announcement, because it was a small announcement, even before the first year, they said, look, we'll take 100 million of this billion, and we will fund startups that say, hey, we want to build our solution on top of EOS.
Okay.
And that's what they did. A few months later, what they did is they announced a group of different venture capital firms that they pegged to say, look, you guys run this through your normal venture capital vetting process, but here's the funds to do it.
Okay.
And since they've hit a $4 billion, I know this is on video, and no one has said this, but I'm suspecting this because they've hit 4 billion, which is 4 times what their initial target was. There'll be even more than that $100 million pool that go into that VC network.
I gotcha. Well, thanks for speaking out on that post and clarifying things. I think my initial knee-jerk reaction was that, this was another way of the, traditional finance sector to use some marketing buzzwords coming out of cryptocurrency and to get inexperienced investors all excited to invest in something that's not really there, a la Long Island Iced Tea Company fiasco, and they got delisted in April. And to some extent, I haven't been following them recently, but I think they're actually doing okay. But Riot Blockchain fell under that criticism when they kind of changed from biotech to cryptocurrency in a 3-week span by acquiring some companies. So this was another kind of concern just by way of how it was poorly covered. It was not covered in terms of explaining EOS's history.
That was good. Oh, I'm sorry. I said that was good of you to jump on that, because the same thing happened with the .com. Everybody was a .com to try to get the funding. Then the next big thing was everybody was Web 2.0. And then the next big thing, everybody is cloud. So now they're just jumping on the latest buzzwords. So yeah, you do have to be diligent in kind of weeding out the wheat from the chaff.
Okay, so, Richard Gets It in Atlanta, look out for him, whether it's in Black People in Cryptocurrency or just his own Facebook page, because he is a developer. He's definitely in tune with a lot of what's going on with various properties and what they're doing. So the situation with Block One and EOS is basically, I feel it as a former journalist, is a failure of mainstream media to make the connection of EOS to Block One and actually give the full history of what EOS was doing in a relationship to Block One. The fact that we have to go on live stream on Facebook to clarify this failure. I mean, this is why I'm not an active journalist today and I just do my own thing and just put stuff up and just talk to people, because it's so piss poor that it's irritating. They mentioned EOS very briefly. They had the EOS in lowercase letters, didn't even explain what it was, and they hyped on the fact that they made it appear that this was a company that had nothing going on. Another one like we know has happened. And then, all of us that are even like in the space of cryptocurrency are like, what the heck is this and what's going on? Especially if you haven't been following EOS directly and not knowing the direct relation between Block One and EOS. So I thank you for your time. I know you got people waiting for you in office. I just also want to remind Black People in Cryptocurrency that we do have our scheduled live stream with Sarita Hines of Trust-A-Bit at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Sarita Hines, Trust-A-Bit, that's the airline industry blockchain, because there are Black people in this space that are working with their own development teams to bring solutions into the global forefront. So we still have that, but we definitely wanted to bring this out to clarify that even my error and kind of like, what's going on, but then also to put it in context to know that, unfortunately, the traditional finance sector makes passes a lot of times for its own, and they brought a lot of junk into the space, and we're guilty of it too in terms of cryptocurrency ICOs that aren't worth squat if you don't know something is a joke coin versus something being a straight out scam. So,
and can I put a disclaimer out there too?
Go ahead.
As well, I meant to mention that I do hold EOS. So
okay.
I just wanted to say that, but that's not the reason I was buying.
Yeah, this is opinion, not investment advice. But we definitely want to get the information out there that there are many perspectives to this. All right, thank you, Richard, for your time. I'm going to reverse the camera, and definitely, guys, stay tuned for 1 p.m. for our scheduled live stream with Sarita Hines and Trust-A-Bit.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. And then I wanted to say this too. I want to come back on because I've got a ICO that's happening. We're doing a pre-sale, and then we're going to do an ICO in September. But I'll let you know about that. We can.
Definitely we'll talk about it offline, and right. We're going to get back into live streaming. We've taken a break from it because we've been working on some issues with masternodes in the down market, and then trying to figure out what directions we're going to next in terms of other masternodes or other opportunities. So we've kind of fallen to the wayside on a lot of our live streams. And Bob Ponce, who does live streams, got really busy with a number of things. He's done a few, and then we also have Eduardo Jackson, who himself is a blockchain cryptocurrency entrepreneur, but he's done some live streams with roundtables on bots and things like that. But we're going to gear back up as we revamp for the summer. So I always encourage people, like, just like Blair White of Trustabit did, and Yoli with the venture that Bob interviewed, who's escaping me at the minute. Bob posted, but Clarence Wooten's company, just inbox us repeatedly, because sometimes we have good intentions, but we get drawn into other projects that we're working on and not related to cryptocurrency sometimes. And, but the persistent ones kind of get interviewed mainly because, they keep coming at us and we're like, oh yeah, we just got busy. So we definitely want to bring more things to the table. We'll be talking to Richard again. I talked to Richard off and on.
I want to bring my buddies over that walked in and visit with me today. I want to bring them on the live stream. Y'all probably know Jamar, Social Currency, Steve Council. I just want to let them say what's up.
All right, who is this again?
Happy for them being patient, waiting here, let me, go up on these cryptocurrency rants.
Now, who is introduced them again?
Jamar Curd from Social Currency.
Okay.
And Steve Council, he's just overall businessman. He's well known here in Atlanta.
Gotcha. Yeah, people should know that Atlanta is a hotbed. It's kind of like, the other black mecca of cryptocurrency. People who were early into the Bitcoin, between LeBron, yourself, and, other people, rest of us weren't paying attention, and y'all were actually, okay, I'll buy that coin and see what happens. And then that has led to some things. So we do know y'all the mecca for now. But in any case, thanks for bugging me. Yes, that's why Steve is here. Good. Thanks for bugging me. Yeah. Definitely keep in tune with what you're doing, and definitely keep posting and Black people in cryptocurrency and correcting things when you see things are out of whack, even when I post them. All right. Take care, you guys, and I'll talk. All right, I ended it. Now I got an hour to prep for the other one, because I was like, dang, maybe I should watch the old interview I did with Sarita Hans to kind of remember. I remember the company, but when we talked about some things I want to kind of bring back into this to what she's doing now. Okay. So I was trying to avoid it. I was trying to get one of the other ones to do it, and Bob was like, I'm real busy right now. And then I didn't hear anything from her daughter. I was like, I got to do it before. Then prep for that, and then I'm out for the evening doing stuff. And it doesn't help. My husband's working from home today, so he keeps creeping up, like, can I go into the kitchen? I'm like, not yet. He's like, you said 1 o'clock. I was like, yeah, okay, later. You can eat lunch later. It's not a big deal. So we're going to grab something to eat, and then I'll prep for the 1 o'clock. But thanks for bugging me. All right?
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right. Let's see. Is that right? All right, let me finish this.